Good morning. Welcome to week 3 of Enterprise Architecture for the summer term. This is Professor Bauer. Hope you're doing well. And just jump right into things right now. Um, so far, I think we're off to a good start, good feedback, good engagement in the class. Those of you who did some extra credit should look in your class participation grade and see that you've been shown some love. Thank you for some really good presentations, and please don't post any of this information on Facebook or LinkedIn. I will grade your papers. It's Monday. I'll have them to you back by Wednesday, and we'll walk through any issues that are sort of generic or general. We'll talk about. We're not going to call anybody out or anything like that, but just to make sure that as we continue to write, that if there's any sort of consistent things that we need to work on, we will. All right, this week is business architecture, vision, strategy, capabilities, and more. So we're getting a little deeper into it. What we are going to focus on this week is TOGAF and business architecture layers. So just to give you a heads up, this is, it's not like the last few weeks have not been important, but this is a huge, big, humongous project where you will be challenged to learn incrementally. You'll think you have the picture, and then things will change. And so trust and adjust. It's designed to test your ability to tack on things when they change. Not that your companies have ever done that to you already, right? This Wednesday, we're going to do a live class, of course, on how to install and get the Archimate and TOGAF files from the open group. It would be really helpful to have your computer logged in, pay your internet bills, whatever you need to do to have internet access for that Wednesday class. Not good to do it on the phone. For those of you who are not able to attend, please make sure you get the video of the class. All right, so let's talk briefly about TOGAF. You're gonna have TOGAF out the ears by the time we're done here this term. But just to we got a little bit of an introduction last week through the presentation. You have a lot to read this week and in weeks to come. This is a group called the Open Group. They have a charter to build open solutions that are not, custom, and you have to pay a ton of money to consultancies to be able to get. And so they have come up with phases of activity, major processes in terms of getting requirements. And so you can see on the left-hand side a high-level viewpoint of some of the major principles and processes as you're going clockwise from A through H. And then what the end results are and the final artifacts. Think of an artifact as a document. Artifact sounds like, some corpse on CSI or something. Oh, we found the artifact. No, it's just a document. Why use a simple word when you can use a confusing, more complex word? I don't understand this. Anyway, all right, I'm just an old guy yelling at the kids on the lawn here. So, but this is, for better or worse, this is the framework that a lot of people are looking at today. As we looked in the wonderful presentation last week, this evolved from older frameworks from the DoD and the federal government. That this was TAFIM and DISA, which a lot of us who've worked with the federal government security side of things are not. It's not a new organization. DISA has a lot of hooks into everything in terms of security for the feds. So, but we are now in 9.2, and that's important. And we'll talk about that in a few weeks. All right, 9.2, information on the entire program. OpenGroup.org, certifications, TOGAF. You have to sign up. Sign up as a student and make sure that you let them know how much you want to be contacted. You can drop out at the end of the class, or for some of you who are looking at this, it may be worthwhile. There's no fees to join as an academic member. But when you're done with this term, just make sure you change your email address. So the world's leading enterprises certify a common body of core knowledge. And that's what standards are all about. America had 50 different railroad gauges, you know, the width of the rails on a railroad track when when trains first started being introduced, and finally they standardized on 3 or 4 standard tracks, and that helped business. And you didn't have to stop at one place and change your wheels or do other kinds of crazy things. So this is vendor neutral. It's globally recognized. It seems to be portable, but we'll talk about that. And it's an outstanding career move. It sounds like a sales pitch here. This is right from their website. And it is the distinguishing certification in the career of an enterprise architect, and something to consider if that's where you're going in terms of and these are the exams: English, Brazilian Portuguese, simplified Chinese, etc. So this is global. It is a long exam. For part 1, it's an hour. For part 2, which is a little bit more detailed, it's 90 minutes. And then there's a business architecture exam. So it is complex, and it will test you. It's not a walk in the park. All right, so assignments for this week: the YouTube videos. Get signed up for TOGAF at theopengroup.org. We'll walk through this live on Wednesday night. We'll do that first. If we have time for discussions, we'll do that. Discuss the challenges an enterprise architect is likely to encounter in documenting the enterprise vision. Remember, this is the bubble up of all the businesses, of all the technical. How do we find a common denominator? How do we have a top-down vision of how we should build? This is things with cloud and people hanging on to client server and and COBOL and all these other sort of antiques. It's hard to kill some of these things, and so keep that in mind. And of course, this is written for posting, but we'll talk about it live on Wednesday night. Capability models: distinguish between a capability, a process, a system, or a technology. People use these terms interchangeably as synonyms, and there is a precision. TOGAF is good for one thing, and that is being precise and making sure that we're on the same page. So keep these in mind. Assignment-wise, there is a software tool called Archimate, which is a TOGAF modeling tool, and you can download that at archimatetool.com. Sometimes it's a little tricky. Make sure that it works version-wise on Windows or Macs. Sometimes your AV may rule it as an unsafe file, and trust that it's okay. If you but I'm not fixing it if it breaks. No, I've never had a problem downloading it. But look at the README file if you got anything weird. You need to set up a free account on the Open Group website just to be able to get Archimate and some of the other documents, the case studies, some of the other things that you've got to read later on. So this is what happens when you get Archimate. We'll do this 6 o'clock Mountain Time this coming Wednesday. We'll download and install. I'm sorry. Is that 6 o'clock? Let me check that. It may be 7, but I'll check that. We will download and install in real time. We'll configure and walk through the basics on how to use it. And the case study has a PowerPoint. And if you unlock the PowerPoint, you can actually get to the Archimate images, and you can also use those. So I've got a couple of documents that I'll share with you. So if you don't attend the class, we're selling the video. So and I get I get 20% of the action on that, okay? I'm just kidding. We did this last term, and it seemed to be helpful along the way. All right, so have a great week. Bye-bye now. See you Wednesday.